Hey guys, yeah, it's about 7:28 on this Tuesday evening, the 27th. Foggy Tuesday evening, early Tuesday evening, I should say. Very foggy already. Whew. Never seen it this foggy in a while, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I mean, I'm doing this also to kind of keep myself occupied, busy and, focused on what I have to do, getting home. But I also wanted to come on here and talk about news that broke a couple weeks ago. I think a week before this Christmas or so. And that is the fact that starting in 2 months on Hulu, we will see the last season of Animaniacs, season 3, debut. And there's a lot of information going on, and around about, the third season. What it could be and stuff. What it could entail and everything. Hold on for a sec. Well, sorry about that. Just walking past somebody. But anyway, questions been surrounding all about it and around it of what is it going to entail? What is it going to have? As far as characters are concerned and stories. And the way I look at it with Animaniacs, this new, I guess, I don't know if you would consider it a true reboot or a soft reboot, because it supposedly is a continuation of the original series, just set in modern times. And it does touch upon a lot of the things that happened in the original series. It did have a lot of the more beloved characters outside of the Warner siblings and Pinky and the Brain make appearances, cameo appearances, or little plot twist appearances. We know that. But but outside of that, was this a true soft reboot? Well, I think it was. I think it was a true soft reboot continuation of the original series, which is why when the announcement came that February 2023, I think February 16th, 2023 would be the debut of the final season for Animaniacs on Hulu, this new version. The question that several questions people were wondering about is, besides what I just mentioned, like what is it going to entail and all that, basically is who's going to be involved outside of the Warners and outside of Pinky and the Brain. Well, there are speculations going around. That basically, characters like, the ever popular Minerva Mink could be showing up finally in this season. She could be showing up finally in this season. Besides and outside of her cameo at the end of the first season in one of the episodes there. There is speculation when a I guess you could say model sheet showed up. A character model sheet showed up with her on it that said in the upper left hand corner, Animaniacs Season 3. So it got people wondering if finally the beloved Mink was going to make an official return in the cartoon. Was she going to make an appearance in the series finally, even if it's the last season? And I can tell you honestly that if she does show up, in the final season, in her own episodes maybe, because I think that's what a lot of fans would like to see, with less restrictiveness. And I'm not talking full-on nudity here or anything, but but basically less restrictiveness. In other words, let her be a little bit more sexy, in her design and what she wears and stuff, but not too over the top. Something that, is kind of on the, it's kind of like, I guess you could say PG material. maybe slightly PG-13, but PG material. Because, you know, if she comes back and she gets her own segments, like I said, a lot of fans want her to have, you know, then there is no denying that. I don't know how the algorithm, you know, the viewership numbers and the algorithm, I should say, for Hulu works when it comes to people watching episodes and things like that. But I do know this, that, you know, that despite how it works, one thing is for certain. One thing is definitely for certain. And that is the fact that if she does make her return, and she makes her return with her own solo cartoon, people are going to be watching that. Fans will be watching that like you would not believe. I mean, yeah, you got the opportunity to bring back other fan favorites too, like the Goodfeathers, Rita and Runt, you know, Slappy and Skippy, you know, the Goodfeathers' girlfriends, if you will. You know, you got a chance to do a lot of that. You got a chance to do a lot of that, you know, in the coming season. But I guarantee you, and even what, you know, what's the other one? Buttons and Mindy, you know, you bring them back, you know, along with the hippos, if you will. I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, that no matter how you look at it, no matter how you try to, you know, theorize about it, they might get some good numbers, you know, from viewership, you know, that some good numbers, no doubt. But they wouldn't be slightly, they will basically pale, be slightly nothing compared to if Minerva makes her return and gets her own cartoon in the process. But yes, you know, that's one of the characters being speculated because of a character model sheet with her on it with the Animaniacs Season 3 in the upper left-hand corner. But even so, who else could potentially make a return? And I look at the lineup that I just mentioned, and a lot of good ones could show up. You know, like I said, the Goodfeathers along with the girlfriends, you know, could show up. Buttons and Mindy, Rita and Runt, you know, Slappy and Skippy, you name it. And you can only imagine the kind of adventures, not adventures, but the stories they could all be involved in. You know, as we, you know, concluded in this series. I mean, heck, wouldn't it be something if, you know, with that episode where we find out Chicken Boo is the one that's behind the kidnapping of all the original talent and was trying to snag the Warners as like his final trophy to prove, hey, I was the star. I was always the true star of the series. Wouldn't it be an ironic twist if we find out that the Warners were actually the ones that paid off Chicken Boo to do this, and also to try to make it look like he was going after them because they didn't want to share the spotlight anymore with anybody because they were the reason the show, they were the mascots of the show, they were the reasons the show was successful. Wouldn't it be a twist, you know, for that to be a revelation to kind of tie into that last one? And then you see the other characters that make their returns in celebration, you know, of the series return, as well as in celebration, you know, of them finally getting an opportunity to, you know, to help allow the franchise to go out properly. Wouldn't it be something that if that gets revealed and the lights go up and then there's all the characters going like, you, basically looking at them like, with, you know, with murder in their eyes, like, you SOBs. And then the last thing we see in the final episode is just, it fades to black and you just hear everybody beating up on the Warners and everything. And then maybe you see the Iris pull back out and you see the Warners basically torn up and maybe Dot going like, you know, maybe we should learn to share the spotlight once in a while. And then that's it, or something. I'm not saying they would do that, but that would be something of a twist to really end the series on. But again, you have to really wonder, speaking of the characters that I mentioned, you know, what their adventures would be like. You know, what their adventures would entail. Like, what would they be involved in that would warrant them to be able to come back? Well, I know that with, you know, Minerva, people would want Minerva to go back to form. Basically, have a classic 7 to maybe 11-minute cartoon where I don't know, I guess a handsome guy, or at least a guy that's interested in her, like let's say a Wilfred or whatever, or a Newt, finds her attractive and goes gaga over her, and she kind of doesn't feel the same way, but then in return she sees maybe the alter ego, you know, being a handsome dude or something like that, and she goes gaga over them to the point that she pulls out all the, you know, traditional gags that we've seen her do, like the wild takes of the eye popping, becoming, you know, having her hair turn into a stick of dynamite, melting into the, you know, doing the lustful melt, you know, through the arms of the handsome character, or just standing there and doing it and having somebody pick her up like she's a wet towel and wring her out, you know. The thing is, you know, would they have her, you know, do that, you know, in her return? Would that be the kind of thing, the kind of return to form that they would, you know, we'd see from Minerva? And I would have to say yes. I'd have to say it would be a true return to form for Minerva if they did that. But I think they should also take it up a notch. I think what they should do is have Minerva not only do some of those gags, but add to it. Like, one of the things I've always felt like Minerva could do with the melting gag is, you know, eventually do the gag, the lustful melt gag, and then seep into the ground, and then all of a sudden pop up, you know, and then all of a sudden, I should say, have like a little flower or a big flower pop up, and the petals open, and out she comes, you know, sliding down the petal. Or you have her melt down, seep into the ground, and you see all these little flowers pop up in the image of her face, you know, things like that. Take it up a notch, in my opinion, when it comes to her, if she does make a return, and it's at the expense of her own solo cartoon. I think with Rita and Run, I think you gotta basically finally give them homes. I mean, I know they teased that many times, but you gotta give them forever homes here, in my opinion. Slappy, I think you need to age up Skippy a little bit, and then maybe do a little bit of a story where Slappy's like, well, he's older. You know, I'm a tune, I never aged, but I feel like I have. Maybe have her try to, you know, resume that quest she did in one episode to try to be young again. Who knows? I mean, and the Good Feathers, maybe you could do something like a parody to the Godfather movies, not just, you know, by name or anything, but maybe by story. I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying. And then, of course, you got things like Kitty Kaboom. We've seen her turn into different creatures. Why not have her turn into slime monsters and all that explodes all over the place when she finally goes kaboom, and it's nothing but slime, and then she just constitutes herself after she lets it all out. I'm just saying. I mean, the possibilities are there for them to attempt to try, and I would love to see it happen. But yeah, season 3 right now, we don't know what it's going to have, who's going to be involved, but if some of these model sheets, like with the one with Minerva, is any indication of what we may or who we may get, then I can only say that Hulu better be ready to have some record-breaking viewership, especially when it comes to that episode involving her. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. I'm home now. Oh, and everything, as I try to unlock my phone here. But yeah, I'm home now, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are overall on it. And until then, I am out.